What's going on, Colts Nation? I appreciate you joining me for another video where today we're going to talk a little bit more about free agents as we come to the close of this. We have two more topics, and then we're going to talk about, hey, everything you guys did, how much money are you guys over the cap that we would think would be the case, at least trying to make estimates. Of course, we have no idea what these guys are actually going to make, but I'm just trying to fit everything in. And you guys have made your selections along the way. And here we have a poll. Put this poll up a little late. I forgot to put up the cornerback poll after we put out that video, but did end up getting that up. Gave you guys some time to vote. And as it sits right now, as I'm sitting here recording this video, there are 220 votes on that cornerback poll. And the votes are as such, where you have the bottom. Asante Samuel Jr., I was very surprised that Asante Samuel Jr. got the least amount of votes here. Somebody that, I mean, as Colts fans, we know all about Asante Samuel. Played really well against the Colts during his time in the league. And Asante Samuel Jr. Has been excellent so far in his career. I think he spent most of the year injured, I'm pretty sure, for the Chargers this year. But nonetheless, like Asante Samuel Jr., very good football player, very young, going on to his second contract. Somebody I thought would be very intriguing for us, bring in and add him to our depth at that cornerback position, and have him be a starter, right? Turn Juju into depth. That's not going to be the case. And then another name that I honestly thought would get a bigger portion, I think early on when there was like 100 votes on the poll, Isaiah Rodgers was on top. Actually, no, I'm sorry. That was another person on top. Isaiah Rodgers had the second highest with 100 votes. So I thought, Colts Nation, hey, we really want this guy back. You know, a lot of people less sour now on him than they were, but even still, he gets the third most amount of votes here, and where he ends up with 20% of the 220 votes for Isaiah Rodgers to come back to the Colts. Somebody, I mean, everything. It's a conversation we've had so many times about Isaiah Rodgers, right? And the skill that he possesses, like nothing we really ever talked about was like, oh, Isaiah Rodgers can't get it done on the field. I think what we saw from him the last time we saw him on the field as a Colt, it was like, okay, this guy, like going into next year, this is going to be the guy. This is going to be a guy that we can depend on. Coming out of a terrible 2022 year, so many things were changing, and we were like, oh, okay, so we're going to get a guy in 2023 be our number one corner. Now, of course, that ends up not being the case. You end up in a situation where 2023, we have Juju and we have Jalen, and then Juju gets hurt, and then it's Dallas Flowers, and then it's somebody else. So who is something, Daryl Baker Jr., then it was somebody else. Like, I mean, just the revolving door of cornerbacks that happened because Isaiah Rodgers wasn't there, I think made a lot of people even more sour on Isaiah Rodgers. But now as we sit here, he won a Super Bowl with the Eagles. He's going to be a free agent. I thought, man, enough time has passed. Maybe it's time. Hey, let's see if we can bring him back. See if we can find a role for him on the team. Obviously, as a returner, that would be incredible. But also being able to fit him in the cornerback room with Juju being hurt. If Samuel Womack doesn't at least, play the same or improve in this defense, right? New defense, is Samuel Womack going to be as valuable? We'll see what happens there. But I thought Isaiah Rodgers was an interesting choice. And then third here, or I'm sorry, the second most votes on this poll, 220 votes, 22%. So just a little bit higher than Isaiah Rodgers, but 22% for DJ Reed, cornerback from the Jets. And this is what I expected DJ Reed to get the least amount of votes, because I thought DJ Reed would be the one that people have heard the least about. That's just how I thought this poll was going to go. That's not the case. We have some people that seemingly know their way around the league a little bit. And DJ Reed, really good cornerback. And of course, he's getting overlooked, over there in New York because Sauce Gardner has been so good to start his career. But DJ Reed, I'm not going to say shut down, but DJ Reed, like an affordable veteran for what we need, would be a really good, come in, be a number 2 corner, be a really good option, be somewhat affordable, I think. So that's why I thought DJ Reed would be good. It's very simple with him. Because it's not like I've sat here and watched a whole bunch of DJ Reed tape. It's just what I've heard other people say, and then a little bit that I have watched of DJ Reed and the Jets, and watching him be able to get past deflections, have good coverage. Quarterbacks trying to get it over the top, they overthrow. Somebody just, again, a good number 2 corner, come in, be Jalen Jones number 2 on the other side. That's what I was thinking there. And then, of course, that would leave, if you watched the video or you saw the poll, you know what's coming. Charvarius Ward getting 42% of the vote of 220 votes. And as I sit here, I want to look through the rest of these. Actually, the safeties is pretty close as well. And it looks like, yeah, so that 42% is actually the second closest of all the polls. And even the safeties is pretty much the same. Honestly, when you look at the percentages there, almost the same. But 42% of the 220 Colts Nation decided to vote for Charvarius Ward here to be the guy coming in. And he would be the number one. If we overpaid for a corner, right? A guy like Charvarius Ward, in the situation that we're in, we'd have to overpay for him. And in that case, you overpay for him, it would take money away from other places. But I mean, then you don't have to worry about your number one corner. Charvarius Ward, incredible. Incredible. He was incredible with the Chiefs. When he became a free agent, I wanted him to come to the Colts. That ended up not happening. He goes to San Francisco, where you can't even blame him for going to San Fran. But after making all that money, signing such a big contract, and then having so much of the California taxes take so much of that money away, I guarantee he's going to be trying to go somewhere. Now, I'm afraid he's going to try to go to a state like Las Vegas and be on the Raiders, where they sorely need somebody like Charvarius Ward. Or does he go to a team like the Texans or the Cowboys, because they're in Texas, no state taxes? Both those states I just mentioned, no state taxes. Or maybe he goes to the Titans, also no state tax in Tennessee. So the options for him are going to be plentiful, I assume. Florida, no state taxes. Couple teams he could choose down here. Couple in the AFC. So we'll see what does Charvarius Ward decide to do. I don't think the Niners are going to be able to afford him. Now, I do know they have a couple of their free agents that were high-priced guys, so maybe they can figure something out. I haven't looked at their cap situation, but Charvarius Ward, as of right now, supposed to be a free agent coming up. And if the Colts were able to get him, I wouldn't be mad at it. I already said most of the money that we have in free agency needs to be spent on the defensive side of the football. Most of our draft picks need to be on the defensive side of the football. Build that up how you need to. Get who you need to on offense. Isn't a whole lot, but get who you need to. But build everything up on defense to free agency in the draft. And I think Charvarius Ward would be a good addition. He's not who I picked. I picked Asante Samuel. If I had to pick somebody else, I'd say is Isaiah Rodgers, just because of his length, his height, his physical abilities, and what we've seen him be able to do at corner and what he could possibly do for us. So Asante Samuel or Isaiah Rodgers for me. Obviously, Asante Samuel Jr. going to be a more expensive option, but on a one-year deal coming off an injury, hey, let's get a one-year deal somewhere, try to play well. So maybe not with the Colts because he's trying to have success. And we're no guaranteed to have success in 2025. So we'll see what happens there. But hey, it would be cool. Really, I mean, I selected Asante Samuel here, but the more I sit here and think about it, like, just give me Isaiah Rodgers back with the price he's going to be and the ability that he has and the homecoming that would be. Imagine first home game of the year, and they have the defense get introduced. Well, no, they would almost certainly have Jonathan Taylor and Anthony Richardson getting introduced. So offense would get introduced. But then the second home game of the year, defense gets introduced. Isaiah Rodgers, all the people on the team, all the people on the defense say, hey, Isaiah Rodgers is going to be the last one to get introduced. Could you imagine what the crowd's going to be like? Now, some of it going to be boos. Not everybody's going to be okay with Isaiah Rodgers coming back. But I just feel like seeing somebody that is so young that makes mistakes, like, I'm 31 years old, and even just recently in my life making massive mistakes, and having to deal with the consequences of those, right? And he dealt with the consequences, had to not be in the league for a season. So coming back into it, just being older, being wiser, going through some stuff, some pretty heavy stuff, and being able to come out of it and on the other side of adversity, coming out on top. Now he's a Super Bowl champion. He was a part of it, not a massive part, but he was a part of that Super Bowl championship, and just overcoming adversity. Just a good story. Will he want us back after everything Colts fans said about him? The possible reception he gets in Indianapolis, I assume Colts fans, or I assume Isaiah Rodgers maybe not so excited about that. So maybe it's more of a long shot, but just interesting to think about. Interesting option there. But again, 4 options, just like what we talked about. The defensive ends, just like we talked about, linebackers. And as I sit here and look, it was not defensive ends. It was a linebacker conference. Any of the linebackers we talked about, I'd be fine with us getting any of these corners. If we got any of them, I'd find a way to rationalize it in my head because I think all 4 of them are really good football players. So, and I think any 4 of them could help us. So, that's my thoughts on this. Of course, I want to know where you guys stand on all this. For just those that didn't watch the last video, those that didn't watch or didn't see the poll, those that just haven't voiced their opinion. I love to hear from you guys. So please let me know what you're thinking down in the comment section. Of course, make sure you subscribe with notifications on. Got some more videos coming out. The combine is this week. Gonna have draft talk coming up, so plenty of content to come, plenty of off season for us to talk about everything Colts. I want to know what you guys are thinking along the way. So again, subscribe, have those notifications turned on. I appreciate you guys so much for stopping by, and as always, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and go Colts.